Father, we thank you for this opportunity to be a blessing to your people. We recognize your gifts in each of us, O Lord, and we are choosing to give this gift back to gain, especially in light of the cause to which you have called us to serve today. We ask, O God, your blessing upon this experience, that you would equip and draw out the best in each of us so that as we share, the others could be encouraged to live their own best in you. We ask, oh God, your blessing, your keeping, a very successful event and a move of your spirit to the glory of God the Father. We say thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for that wonderful, brief prayer. And welcome everyone. And it will be so nice to have you just drop your name and where you are joining us from in the chat. Ms. Novia, you couldn't put the banner on? You need help with that? That was going to separate you from the crowd when they come into camera. All right, let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Like I said before, if you're just joining us, welcome. I would love for us to have an engaging session tonight, because this is not about me. It's not about even these ladies. It's about all of us in the room. And I would love for us to have a collaborative session. Each speakers have 8 minutes to showcase themselves. They have 8 minutes to brag about themselves. They have 8 minutes to tell us how they have journeyed through life and gotten to where they are today. Because I don't know about you, life has been challenging so much these days. And having someone walk this path that you are walking, I'm very sure it will help a bit. If you turn on the news, there's so much going on. If you go into the internet, oh, you might be discouraged. If you're not a speaker, please, at this point, you will need to turn down your camera until each speaker has finished taking the stage. Thank you. Thank you. Let's honor our speakers today. It takes a lot of bravery, boldness to be vulnerable to share one story. And so we just want to give them that opportunity. Thank you. And so, like I said, we are just eight of these ladies are going to have 8 minutes to really showcase themselves, tell us their journey, how they got to where they are. And I really want you to take notes. When it's time for you to ask questions on the audience, we'll give you the opportunity. And it will be very easy. We have our co-host here, Regina Mackenzie. She will be watching over for when you are ready to ask your questions. By raising up your hand, you get the opportunity to introduce yourself in person and then go straight to the question. My question is. And if you want a specific speaker to answer your question, all you need to do is to address the question to Miss Janet, Miss Marlene, Miss Regina, or Tina, so that particular speaker can respond to you. But peradventure, your question, another speaker in the room has the answer. Regina, who is the co-host, can even ask if you are okay with your answer. If you're not, and if there's any of the speakers who have something to chip in, they will be welcome to do so. And without much ado, I am going to be inviting the first speaker. Every time I call each speaker, it's going to come as a surprise, okay? Because I didn't say you are going to go first or you're going to go last. So when I call you, just know that I'm just going with the flow. When I met this speaker, when I started to introduce her, she'll know herself. When I met this lady, just recently, a couple months ago, there was something that drawn me to her. It was a natural connection, because I always say that I do not force things, I just attract seamlessly. But little did I know that very soon, this lady was going to be an integral part of my movement, the Girl Fix Your Crown. And before you could say Queen, the lady was here in Seattle, Washington State. I don't know if it was her first time because I haven't gotten to ask her yet. And do you know what she did? She not only was she bold enough, she was brave enough, she had the audacity to take the crown away. Join me as I welcome to the stage Bobby Bridgewater House. Bridgewater. Bobby Bridgewater. And I call her the Crown Queen. She is a 2026 Girl Fix Your Crown Queen. I don't know why she's not wearing her crown right now. I don't know why she doesn't have a crown on. But, Bobby, here you are. Glorious. Can you guys see the commonality already? That's exactly what I said on Friday. We just got in here and there's a commonality. And so, Bobby, I am going to stop talking. Good. Now you are talking.
My desk every day. I look at it every day.
Co-host, please help us to mute them, please. Okay, because now the show begins. Let the show begin. And so, Miss Bobby, welcome. How do you feel?
Thank you. I'm okay. I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, you're just okay.
I am ready, Bridget. I'm ready.
All right, thank you. And so, Miss Bobby, tell us a little bit about yourself, because I know we have an audience that is eager to see who Brigitte is talking about. Who is this enigma? Who is this lady who Brigitte is talking so much about? So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into this space. When I say this space, I'm not talking about the 8 for 8. How you got to this path in your life today?
Well, I will start by saying I'm a firm believer that God places people in your life at a certain time for a certain season. I met Brigitte, like she said, not long ago, and we were on a call together, and there was something that drew me to Brigitte and what she was talking about in her program. I signed up for her retreat immediately. I just thought that it was something that I needed in my life at the time. Although I'm a certified AI consultant, I was first a certified Christian mindset and resilience coach. And typically, to be an effective coach in any area, you have to have gone through something. And based on what Brigitte talked about, I felt like Girl Fix Your Crown was the place that I needed to be at the time. I don't really have words for what happened at the retreat, as far as I will label it breaking free. And I label it that because when I got back home from the retreat, I was always in a family Bible study. But something said, you need something different. So I walked past, I typically always have a Bible study on my shelf, something I haven't done yet. And Breaking Free was there. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's by Beth Moore. And I took that Bible study off the shelf. And as God has it, today's video was about courage. And that was for me today, because I am an introvert. I mean, times 10. So to be here and talk about what some of the things that I've been through took this is a huge step for me. It began, though, at the retreat. But when I left that retreat, I decided for myself that I would no longer have fear to talk about my story if I can help people. I even coached behind the scenes. No one knew I was a coach for 5 years, at least, because I didn't know what my family would think. I didn't know what my friends would say. I was certified for 5 years, got my LLC after 3 years, still never coached in public, never said a word. And I realized that I could not help anybody if I keep my mouth shut. And that is how I started being in open is what I want to call it, being out in the open to coach people, because I can't help people if I don't speak up about anything. My story starts way back when. I'm 63, so we're not going back there. But at 50, I had a heart attack. I took care of my mom, who had a brain tumor. And it was like a hamster wheel. You know, you do what you have to do. I went to work. I went to the nursing home and stayed with her for a few hours. We had dinner. I went back home. I got up, started the same thing over and over until she passed. I had a heart attack about 30 days after she passed. But along the way, I had something that I felt broke me but never talked about. I have a son who's 36 now, and I'm a grandmother of 4. My heart and my heart beats. And but when I was 24, I got pregnant. And for the sake of the family name, because I wasn't married, my mom wanted me to place the child for adoption. And I did so. And I shouldn't say never, 2 people knew until Bridget's retreat. That was the first time I ever spoke about it out loud to anyone. But I can't live that way anymore. In order to help people, if I can talk about the things that I've been through, then I'm just prayerful that I can help someone that has been through this. You cannot give your power to anyone. It doesn't matter who it is, unless it's God. You can't give your power to anyone to make a decision that is life-changing for you. I was 24. I was an adult at that time. There was, other than doing what I was told, I had to forgive myself for it, though. I had to, in order to move forward and live my life in the fashion I feel like I'm called to live. And if I can talk about this story, then I can talk about anything. But I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak. I'm grateful for you all being here and listening. And I'm just grateful to be able to move forward now because I don't feel stuck anymore. It's still not easy, but I still don't feel stuck anymore.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bobby. You got me there. You see the tears. I told you it's okay. When the tears roll down, just know that when the heart is full, the eyes leak, and it's okay. And if you are in my space, as queens, we do not apologize. We give grace. We do not judge. We empathize. So if she's going to take a second, a minute for the tears to drop, and then for her to continue, yes, so be it. Now, I know that you've been through a lot. And I know when you tell me your age, I'm always so grateful for you. But now that you have navigated some part of your story, and you are now able to coach other women, Miriam, okay. If one of the ladies come to you with a similar story like you have, what will you say to them? And while you do that, please tell us what you do now and who your clients are.
So my clients are, I call them mature women, women over 45, 50, that have been through similar situations, not even any situation that they're fearful of talking about or fearful of coming forward with. It holds you back. That fear, it keeps you stuck. And in order to move forward, stay in prayer, because the only person that you have to answer to is God. There is no one, not your family, not your friends. You don't have to answer to anyone. And if that keeps you stuck in life, you can't help people. And I just believe that that's what we're put here for, is to help other people in any way, in any form or fashion, in any way possible. So I say, talk to people, find someone to talk to, a person that you trust, a person that you feel like you can just say whatever you need to, and you can't be afraid of judgment. You can't be afraid of judgment. You have to do what you have to do in order to move forward, live your life, and help others.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Can we all give Bobby, let's pluck it. Let's give her a virtual clap. Let's do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's do that. Yes, give her some love, give her some emoji, because it's not easy to come up here to share a story that is so vulnerable, especially when at the other side of the seat, you are thinking someone is going to judge me. Did you hear the part where she said she was coaching for 5 years, yet nobody knew? Her family did not know that. One thing that Bobby said that stood out to me when she was talking with, and I put it in the chat just in case you miss it. She said, I can't help anybody if I keep my mouth shut. So let's hold that thought while we take Bobby off the stage temporarily. She'll be back to answer your questions. So drop all your questions that you have for Bobby. She will be back at the end of every other person's session. She will be here to answer your question. Wow, wasn't that amazing? And now we move on quick to the next speaker. And I see that she's ready. I only met her, I know we're in the same space, but I only got to have a conversation with her recently. And I understand what an amazing human being that she is. When she starts speaking, you will know. If you notice, when I bring up each speaker, I am not telling you about their titles, because Brigitte is not big about titles. And in this room, it's not about title, it's about your story, who you are, that connects with the audience. And so, welcome, Tina Greer.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Brigitte. I'm like, okay, who is she talking about? Wow. Well, thank you so much. I want to make sure everybody can see and hear me good. I'm excited to be here today and, to share my story.
Marlene, okay. Where is Tina? Okay, good. Here you are.
Okay.
Wow. Welcome, Miss Tina. So how are you today?
I'm great. Wonderful.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's
Wonderful.
Thank you. So, Tina, I know we practically do almost the same thing, but I know that I know you, but there's somebody in this audience who is asking, who is she anyway? We just see Tina and Greer, but who is she? And so if someone were to ask me and say, Brigitte, who is Tina? And why is she here in this space? How would you respond?
You know, God put me in this place because from, you know, I as I shared with Brigitte, how I met Brigitte. I was in a car on a conference call with a lot of other people. And Brigitte said, I have an idea. Why don't we help each other? You know, it was something that she said and how she said it, because it's like the spirit moved her to say what she had to say. And she shared what she had to say in regards to collaborating and partnering and helping each other grow our businesses. And I'm like, who is this lady? I need to get to know her. And then I start seeing her around on different platforms and social media. But then when Touch Me is because when this opportunity came about and how you laid it out and how you were helping other individuals that may have not been as fortunate on International Women's Day, your just, you know, your outreach, you know, it touched me. So I was like, wow, this is great. No matter if I have an opportunity to speak or not, I want to be able to be a part of what she's doing, because she's doing some phenomenal things. So that's how I got here today.
Thank you. And now, tell us about yourself.
Well, I always like to say I come from a humble background. I come from a single parent. My mom, I always said my mom was my mom and my dad. And if I start to get emotional, my voice a little change, y'all bear with me, because actually, you know, I didn't have much growing up, but I had a desire. I had a passion, and I knew that there was something greater for me out in the, you know, out in the world. And being a child of a single parent, I had my brothers and so forth. My mom did the best that she could, and she offered me what I thought was priceless with the means that she had. And also the village that I was a part of, my grandmother, my strong, powerful grandmother, who actually raised 16 children, and looking up to them as my mentors in life to let me know that I can exceed and I can be great at whatever I put my mind to. And that was a driving force for me in my life. So I did the things I did, you know, I went to school. I went to college. I did, you know, good, you know, it said go to school, get good grades, and you're going to get that good job. I did all those things. And then on top of that, I even received my master's degree. So I was always pursuing greatness, trying to be the best that I can be, because I have this lineage of strong Black women. And I wanted to make sure that what they instilled in me, that I was able to even pour it out to my girls. So I did those things, and I just kept going and kept going. But there comes a time in life where it's like you give, and you love giving. But then also there's a pivot. You know, as I thought about what am I going to say today, there's also times where I had to pivot, and that's okay, because long as you're on a good path going forward, keep step by step, keep moving forward, and you have to pivot a little bit, but keep going. That is okay, and I had to do that within my career and learn new things, and you know, get to a place where I'm happy about what I'm doing. I don't know if anybody's ever felt like that. I had to be happy about what I'm doing in life. So you know, I just wanted to just get on here today to say that it doesn't matter where you start, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can always strive for greatness. It's okay to pivot. You can pivot and keep moving forward, long as you put one foot in front of the other. And that is what I have done. And that is what I continue to do. Because I'm a firm believer of growing into your greatness, because I know that God has an assignment for me. I'm on assignment, and it is my goal and my desire is to pour back into other people, to encourage. Because again, it doesn't matter where you start, but you just need to know where you're going and put one foot in front of the other. And that is what I've done in my personal life as well as my business endeavors.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Ms. Tina. I know that you'll be dropping some gems, growing into your greatness. What does that even mean? What does that even look like? And how do you explain that to someone who, in simple terms?
I would say that in simple terms, that it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your education and who you're connected with. But if you have a a positive outlook on life, you can actually start to drop seeds, if you will. Drop seeds and encourage other people, encourage yourself, and continue to be around positive influences, positive people, and always continue to learn, because as you learn, you're going to continue to grow, and then you're going to mature, and then you become wise, and then others look up to you in regards to how did you do it, what did you do, even though sometimes things may not go your way. But it's a point of having a positive outlook on life and continuing to push and move and push and move forward to grow and blossom into the beautiful flowers that you are.
Oh my goodness. Can somebody just help me give this queen some love? Please, I want to see the hearts. Just drop them. Drop this heart. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. Did you just warm your heart like you did mine? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So as we close out your session, can you tell us, real quick, what do you do and who you serve?
Yes. So what I am a business coach. Again, all that schooling and so forth. I'm a business coach and a certified AI consultant. So I help small and mid-sized companies in training and development. I'm also a best-selling author, so I love to empower other individuals. As you can see, it is just automatically comes out of me. So definitely, I look forward to engaging with others on speaking opportunities as well as business coaching and training.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure having you speak your voice and speak your truth. Thank you. Oh my God. Who is going to match that one? Remember, it's not a competition. It's you versus you. And so we are going to bring up next. Up next is our Reverend. She's already spoken all the way from Guyana. I cannot say it all the time, Guyana. She's the only one who is coming from out of state right here to take over the space. And she is the most reverend as well as a leadership coach. So, Andela Moore, if you are here, please take it away. I love your smile already.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brigitte. And I am happy to be, I am so full. I think I am going to overflow onto all of you. But I certainly celebrate Brigitte for your endeavors and for your own courage and boldness in shifting the spaces which you are allowed to be a part of. And it was part of your own being and essence that drew me to you. As a younger coach, my own desire was to be in spaces where I would be stretched and where the people who lived their best versions of themselves could inspire my becoming my best version of myself. And that brought some levels of attraction to your vivaciousness, your boldness, and how you really just called greatness out of people. And I became a recipient of that from afar and then gradually closer. But my own experience of life and coming to the place that I am is really what I would term through the experiences of God's disrupting my life. And now I have the opportunity to share a message of divine content, which has brought me to where I am. You see, just about 3 years ago, before I turned 43 years old, the Lord re-engineered my own journey from serving in an organization for the better part of 10 years as a full-time clergy into a space that was very, very different to me and new to me. I had become somewhat tired of the routine of doing what I was called to do at that time. And I felt challenged and challenged enough to say, I need a break from this world because something else is calling me. And I need to be able to say yes to that within the timing that God would allow. Otherwise, I felt I would miss something crucial and moving into my best self and my best life. And so I took a sabbatical. And on this sabbatical, I felt the Lord saying to me, you need to detach from what you know. Now, if you know anything about me, I'm very structured. I like to know what is coming next, and I could be happy to comply with what I perceive to be God's will for my life. I've done that all the time up until this juncture of my life where I was terrified. Because what would I do with my life? I have plans for my life. I'm going to be 43 years old soon enough. And I did want to accomplish some things by the time I get to 45. But I felt I needed to say yes because I kept hearing messages and felt the need to respond to what was on the other side of my yes. And I could say that today, saying yes has brought me significant amounts of joy and gratification and satisfaction that I could not compare with anything else that I've experienced in my own life. I am Andela Moore, and the meaning of my name, Andela, is messenger. I have always shared messages of hope and resilience, encouraging young women and communities to just really strive for excellence in becoming their absolute in the divine. No, the tables were turned, and I needed to challenge myself to that reality, to hope, to hope, and to strive to bringing the pieces of my own life together and my heart's desire together to representing that best self that I believed God was calling me to. It required me to be courageous. I had to leave an organization I knew and lived in, and that which helped to mold me, and who among people who were proud of me, people who were my friends and mentors and the like. I had to leave that space in order to make accommodation for what God was bringing to me next. Was it easy? Of course not. It was not easy. But there was an inner compass within me that said it was either no or never. If you delay this time, then you might suffer consequences you wouldn't want to. By the grace of God, I was able to journey over a period of time in that same space of not knowing and trusting God to take me into the next. What would become my life today is the recognition that when we say yes to God, even in His disrupting our life, even in Him turning the tables over, even in Him saying, this is not what I have for you, but I have more for you, will become you in that space. You will grow the courage that is necessary to evolve into the greater you. And as you evolve into the greater you, you raise a standard that attracts others and gives you the permission to encourage others on this journey. So after I started discovering this place of divine discontent, what I refer to as divine discontent, I was able to say to others, now listen, based on my own experience, if you feel disconnected from what you're doing, if you feel as if you're not living in the best quality of life that you desire to live in, if it has become burdensome with very little returns, then perhaps what you are experiencing is divine discontent. And it is time to go on the inside of you, to bring out that lion, that roaring inside of you, and be able to reach for the next level to which God is positioning you. It is time to expand your capacity for the unknown. And very often we fear the unknown. But in this case of recognizing I am not where I want to be, I am not where I am supposed to be, then guess what? There is very little left for you but to push through the barriers, to push through the discontent that you might get to a place of contentedness, to push through the fear, which often challenges us to stay supporting the status quo, which often challenges us to stay little, to operate beyond, not beyond, but beneath what we are called to operate in. And we need to challenge ourselves and place ourselves in positions that will challenge ourselves. My
Okay.
experience has led me to this place.
Wow. Girl, I don't have words for you. I don't. But one thing that I know for sure I want to ask is just one, and then we'll close out, is there a way that you can just mention one specific way that you can help a woman that is watching right now push through one challenge that they're going through right now? Something practical.
All right. So if you are experiencing a particular challenge and need to push through, I challenge you to push through. What you want to first do is be able to tell yourself what is on the other side of this that you're experiencing will make for you a better woman. So you can't miss what is on the other side. You encourage yourself. It's almost as if you're midwifing yourself through this labor, because on the other side there is something that is to be birthed that will catapult your life and somebody else's life into a new reality of becoming their best selves. Encourage yourself. See yourself on the other side. See becoming that person you need to become and being able to do like us, like we are doing, to testify of passing through the fire and the flood and coming out on the other side to be a blessing to others.
Thank you so much, Andela. Thank you. Hey, you're watching, you are taking notes, you are writing all your questions down, because I know you have something to ask Andela later. So hold that thought while I bring to you. I call her the Queen of Africa. She's got vast lived experience and she already knows who I'm talking about. And so I want you to welcome with me Chinwe Ezeanya. And if I did say it correctly, you have it's the stage to correct how you want your name to be rightly said. Welcome, Queen.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And I just want to say happy International Women's Day to every woman in the room, every queen. And like I have my friend here, Brigitte, say, girl, fix your crown. My name is Chinwe Ezeanya, and I am a purpose execution coach.
Okay.
You want to know my story? I have been in the corporate space for 30 years. Coming from Africa, we're expected to go to school. I come from a family where women are high achievers and professionals. But there comes a time in your life when you begin to seek purpose because you're searching for your identity. You go to school, you do the courses that are available, not necessarily what you want to study because of the way we're wired and because of the educational system back home. Today, we know that it's not about the study or the course that you did in school, as in the university, but about the identity of who God made you to be. So we begin by roaming, living, trying to discover what we are meant to be doing until we get to that state of awareness. Some people discover early, some go through a long journey to be able to evolve. So, in my own case, I lost my mom when I was about 7. So my mother's family raised me. I have 2 siblings from my mom. I have many other relations and siblings. I evolved like everyone else in this room has. After school, I went into the career world, and at some point, as we are expected to, we have to get married. Marriage comes because it's a societal expectation from where we come from. You're expected to go to school, find a good job, and at some point, you go get married before you further education, or you further your education before you get married. Whichever way, marriage is a strong thing that we need to do and value where we come from. So, marriage, I got into it. One thing marriage does to most women, as you know, especially coming from Africa and some other nations of the world, is that you change your name. You lose your identity somewhat. And a friend of mine said to me at some point, why don't you put your maiden name in your social media platforms? Because nobody sees you. You're not visible. And I said, oh my God, the day I did that, I got so many people finding me, reaching out to me, reconnecting. My schoolmates especially, because they didn't know the surname that I bore. They knew the maiden name. So my journey continued into marriage. I was evolving and then expected to have children. I have 4 lovely children, 3 girls first, and then I had my son. This was in 2008 when I had my son, my very special son, DK. He came down with 2 ailments, one called necrotizing enterocolitis, and the second biliary atresia. For biliary atresia, he needed a liver transplant. He survived these 2 ailments by the special grace of God, and that was what reorganized my life, reprogrammed my life, transformed an aspect of my life as I began to seek purpose. That pushed me into the healthcare as a special nurturer because I started nurturing my son. Having a liver transplant is not a common thing, especially from where we come from in Africa. He had me take him to India after navigating different parts of the world seeking a medical solution. We ended up having a break. It's called the transformational liver transplant procedure, the breaking medical breakthrough miracle that happened for us. That redefined everything for us because we ended up in India, and that was the first time that they did a swap liver transplant. Swapping 4 individuals, I had to donate a part of my liver to an Indian woman whose husband had to donate a part of his liver to my son. We survived, the four of us, and it was breaking news across continents. The caption was "Liver Unites Families Across Continents." And that became my power tool to emerge from that woman who had been at home nurturing 4 children, especially the little one who had all these medical challenges. We became euphoric, and I took him back to Nigeria. I wrote a book titled More Than a Miracle. That book is available on Amazon by Chinwe Ezanya. You have to put my name to find it. More Than a Miracle by Chinwe Ezanya. We celebrated it. By the time I turned 50 in 2018, I had a celebration. I launched a foundation, Deaflead Foundation for Liver Diseases, which I had been doing things with, but I formally launched it to plunge myself into the new me at that age of 50. And then I began my coaching journey. I realized that I had been a coach all this while, but I now became certified. The pandemic was a turning point in my life. When people say all the things that went wrong with the pandemic, for me, it was the transformation that I needed, because that was when God led me straight up to discover my destiny helper, my coach, my mentor, and my friend, Dr. Lanre, the catalyst. He catalyzed me and many others as we began the life coaching journey. And it's been 6 transformational years for me that I've been able to work with many women, and in some cases, men, that appreciate the value that I bring to the world. When I sleep and I wake up with purpose every single day, every single day. Even when I don't have a job to do, anywhere I am, anybody I speak strongly because I discovered my identity.
Yeah.
I re-engineered myself. I emerged.
Yeah.
And like Gideon in the Bible, that guy who didn't have a voice, who thought he was timid, who was calm, when God anointed him, he said, "You are a man of valor." And I say to every woman listening to me today, you are bold, you are beautiful, you are brave. I found my voice, and that is why I do what I do today, helping women, especially women who have gone through journey like mine to transform.
Thank you so much, Chinwe. Thank you. That was wonderful. You see the reason why we tell our stories, because stories connect, stories impact. I thought I knew her, but I never knew this part of her journey. Thank you so much for sharing, Chinwe. And to keep in time, we're going to call on the next speaker. Hey, hold your questions for Chinwe. I know you have them, because all the big words was calling. I've never heard them before, but
yes,
I mean,
please, I want to thank the people who have connected from Nigeria. At this point in time, it's almost 12 midnight, and they're here. Bayo, Ikuru, and many others.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for connecting. I know that it's past midnight in Nigerian time, but yes, that's why it takes a village to support us. So we're going to call on the next speaker real quick. And this is, I don't know how I'm going to introduce her without giving much away, because she's one of my team members. And we've done a lot of things together. And she's also in the AI space. She is the one. This year, when I hosted my retreat, and she came for the first time to my retreat, and she changed my name. She changed my title. You know, I never give myself title. People give me title. And she said, "Queen, you're no longer queen maker, but you are queen maker. She already knows herself. I can see her smiling. Join me as I welcome Marlon Poor."
Awesome. Me add myself to the stage. Oh my God, Coach Brigitte. So she's no longer, whenever I met Coach Brigitte, I would be like, Miss Brigitte, Miss Brigitte. Now it's Coach Brigitte because she is the queen maker. I really understood that for real. We have conversation and we'll be like, our conversation would last like hours, hours. And I never leave the same when I speak with Coach Brigitte. My name is Coach Marlene Paul, and I am an educator, educating women entrepreneurs in AI, in business strategy, in leadership. That is what I'm doing. I moved from being a school teacher of mathematics and to the boardroom where I took that leap of faith of 17 years teaching these middle school students. And then I decided during COVID, I need to make a change because it was not working the way I wanted. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to reach more, and the way I was in that school system was not working. And the Lord, me, whenever transition happened, I am a little bit nervous because sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes God has to like push me to transition. But this time I had a plan, 5 years in the making, being very prayerful. I say God probably put COVID for me so I can have the time to transition, because during that time I got laser focused, saved every single money, learn everything I can while teaching a full-time job. And then in 2022, so 2 years after that, to be able to walk away into corporate world and being a boss, being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak because you work multiple jobs, wear multiple hats, and you have to train multiple people. But in that space, I narrowed down who I am, what I love to do. And then before I started off with like helping people with their branding, helping them with their business strategy, then moving into just focusing on AI. Because the reason why I focus on AI is because whenever people come to me, the first thing they ask me, what new tools do I have? What new tools am I learning about? And when the SBA had their cybersecurity month, and I noticed something was changing. I stayed there and learned what they were talking about. The next day, ChatGPT dropped. I went full force learning about what's going on in this space. I love technology. I've always loved technology since I was an educator. Whatever new technology that they would bring to the classroom, I would take it and learn it and be able to bring it to others. But me stepping into entrepreneurship was not only for me, because I was driving to work crying each day and then have to put on a mask, go in and teach, and then leave, fighting the traffic and having to come back and have nothing left for my son, for my family, for myself. Me walking away from the school system, I said it was more for me, it was more for my family because I needed to do what was best for my mental health. And that was the best decision I've ever done. I think there's a moment when I said, oh, I probably should go back. I think 2 years ago, I said, maybe I'm going to go back because the money was consistent. The Lord said, no. I started to even do an application, make it just be a sub. I started having anxiety attacks, no peace. So I'm saying I had to walk in trust every step of the way. There was some season where the money didn't come in and I think, how are we going to pay for groceries? And guess what? I learned that God provides my daily bread. I would have someone say, oh, I'm going to send you $50 because I feel led to send $50. That happened to me on a Zoom call. I had another person come in and say, you know what, I come to your house and I'm going to pay money for you to pay groceries. And that happened to me. And I'm at my last dime. So I am grateful. I am grateful for opportunity just to be able to, like, walk in trust, because every single day is a walk in trust for me as an entrepreneur, as a woman. Even right now, I'm walking in trust. Even showing up here, Ms. Bridget, Coach Brigitte said that she didn't have any sleep. I didn't have any sleep either. Too. Not only because of that, is because I know what I have purpose. I spend the whole weekend vibe coding a game. Me and my son, we create a game that's fully functioning. I have never coded before in my life, but it was fun. Hopefully I win the money. So if I win next month, come back and tell you I won. Well, I did my first hackathon, being able to do that and push myself beyond the limit, and now helping others push themselves beyond their limit, taking their ideas to another level. I don't know what else you want me to say. My story is a lot. I want to make sure I'm respectful of time, Coach Brigitte, on that. But as you come and you know who I am, I'm beyond just a coach. I'm beyond just an educator. Coach Brigitte had me stepping into my minister hat when I went to Girl Fix Your Crown, because no one knew that I'm a minister also, because I put it to the side. Like, how she know? I was trying to hide this. But God, you can't hide your gifting when it's on you. So I think after I left Girl Fix Your Crown, doors started opening. Doors started opening, wins started winning, clarity of mind started happening for me. Confidence started building. Whenever I feel like that confidence going down, I go in the mirror and said, "Excuse me, I interrupt this broadcast so I can just make sure I talk to that in my mind." So I wake myself up. And I'm going to tell y'all to wake yourself up. This is not the year for sitting down. Whatever passion you have right now, it is time to be bold, be brave, and walk in your destiny.
Oh my goodness. Did you hear that? Girl, wake up. I think that sounds like the title of my next book. Girl, wake up. Hey, Regina, please note that, in case you guys don't know, Regina is my second in command. So I call her as if she lives in the same house with me. She calls me the same way. Regina, please note that. I like that. Girl, wake up. Yeah. No, it's GURL. GURL. Girl, wake up. Wake up. So, Marlene, I know you have a beautiful story and different stories, but there's something that I'm so curious to ask. And I wanted to, there must be someone in this room who is maybe from another continent. Maybe their aspirations, their goal is to migrate to the United States. And here you are. I know you were not born here, okay? And you are from a different country. And right now you are going into this tech guru. You've shared all these wonderful stories and your personality is really thick. How have you been able to overcome that challenge to get to the point that you're able to confidently coach other people, share in this space without having that complex behind your shoulder?
Oh, that has been a journey, because even speaking here, speaking at this pace, me, when I get excited, I speak fast. I grew up, I was born in Haiti, grew up in St. Martin, speaking multiple language, coming to a country where I thought looked like Disney World. When I know how I imagine when I say you're going to the US, I thought of Disney World. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's gonna be fun all the time. And coming in here and seeing that, we have to work hard. One thing my parents brought me here, and I appreciate them now as I get older, is they brought us here for a better opportunity. They worked 2-3 jobs. So I am at a point in my life where I see that I have an opportunity to make a difference. I don't have time to doubt myself, because my parents scrubbed toilets for me to be able to sit in these spaces. My parents had to turn people who are sick and do 2-3 jobs so I can be able to stand in the rooms that I stand in. So when I think I had a moment when I was in the Goldman Sachs program and I was at the tower, I started crying because my parents have not seen that, but I am an extension of them. And because of what they do, I was able to do that thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marlene. I know that all of you watching right now, you have questions. Please hold that thought, because I'm bringing you someone that you will be glad that she's in the room. I'll say, from how does somebody live in the United States? Journey back to Africa after migrating to Africa first. They live here in this land that is flowing with milk and honey. There's gold on the streets of America. You see what I mean? You just pick the money on the streets and then you go back to Africa and then come back to the United States. I cannot wrap my head around that. Join me to welcome our next queen, Janet Nambi.
I like that introduction. You never cease to amaze me. And I am so appreciative that I'm in your circles. We met how many months ago? Maybe, has it even been 5? I'm not sure. It hasn't been such a
October.
October, yes.
October, because October was when I got the award, and then you showed up at the award. Yeah.
Exactly. So I reached out to, I saw Brigitte on LinkedIn.
Appreciating that I'm in your circle. Okay, mute whatever device you're on. I know, just mute that part. Yeah, okay, good.
So I reached out to Brigitte on LinkedIn when I saw her profile and she was getting ready to get this award. And I thought, okay, here's a powerhouse. I need to get to know her. So I reached out and immediately we connected. The very first conversation we had was probably almost 2 hours long, right? And since then, we've been, each other's keeper, that sister's keeper that everybody says you should have. And it's been an amazing opportunity to be in Brigitte's circle and learning from her. And when she spoke at the award ceremony, I looked at the room and everybody was standing there still, like moved, totally moved by telling her story. She has a story that she hasn't told yet here today. And I'm hoping that story will come maybe, but it's powerful. Now, we've listened to the sisters that have spoken before me, and they all have something in common. So the question I want to ask everybody that's listening right now, what invisible weight are you carrying? Take a minute to think about that question. And I'm not talking about the weight that people can, the weight that that people can see. I'm talking about the expectations that you're carrying, or the pressure to perform, the emotional labor that nobody sees. That invisible weight can lead to something called burnout, which I am sure a lot of you have heard. Burnout is rarely about doing much. It's about carrying too much silently for years. And that was my life. I grew up wanting one thing more than anything else in this world: to make my father proud. He was a disciplined man. He was brilliant. He was an entrepreneur. He was respected, and I loved him deeply. I still do. I love him deeply. He's still alive. God has still blessed him with us. And somewhere along the way, that love turned into pressure. But it was pressure I placed on myself. I became excellent at achieving, excellent at building, excellent at proving, and eventually I built a partnership with 2 partners in Uganda. I left the US after spending here. I went to college here, both undergrad and grad school. And after being here for about 12, 13 years, I decided to go back home. 2 partners who were good friends, we came together, put our heads together. I had an idea, they had ideas. We started a recruiting agency. And it was something, we grew this agency to 6 countries. On paper, it was so impressive. 10 years. Oh, I'm muted. All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I partnered with 2 friends. We started a recruiting agency, which looked very impressive. And 10 years down the road, I felt so hollow, very hollow, that I had no idea what was going on. You can never name burnout sometimes. You don't know what's going on. But if you've been where I've been, you know that you can be successful and exhausted at the same time. Marlene spoke about that. You can be praised and depleted at the same time. Pastor, was it Tina? Andela. She talked about that. You can win publicly and still be unraveling privately. So one day I realized that something had to change, that this was not worth my peace. And at 42, I left the company that I had built for 10 years. For a moment there, I took a deep dive into my spiritual growth. I needed an anchor, and that was my anchor. Now, 2 years down the road, I found coaching. I purposefully spent those years, after I left that business, I purposefully spent that time focusing on my family and my children, especially because they were young. So I found coaching in that process of discovering myself. I had so many questions, which coaching helped me answer. I started to ask better questions of myself doing that self-discovery. And that move was very terrifying because everybody looked at me as the person who started the business. This business, I was the person who had the time. So I was the first one to sit in there in the office. And I was the first one to go out there and look for the business while my two partners were still employed. They joined me later. But life handed me, another starting over. After I left the business 2 years later in 2020, 4 years later in 2020, I walked out of my marriage. How old was I then? I'm 52 now. Don't remember how old I was then. I stopped counting. I'm 51 going on to 52. Divorce at midlife is, it's not something for the weak-hearted. It is not. I have 4 children, packed up my children, moved into my parents' home, hardly had an income that could feed us. I had put all the money that I had gotten out of the sale of my partnership into an investment that wasn't producing an income at that time that was sufficient, or that was where I was. And you know, the funny thing about burnout, it switches you off whatever you like, whatever you loved or you thought you initially loved, so much that you end up sacrificing the comfort and just, it's like you throw your hands up in the air and you're like, it's just not worth it. And that's exactly what I did. So I moved in with my parents with hardly an income. Something about starting over in your 40s just strips you down to the core. It humbles you. It really does. But what's most powerful is you meet yourself. I had to face that truth. So I started to rebuild specifically for me and not for anybody else. My third move was at 49 when I left Uganda in 2023. Came to the US. I came to my son's graduation, my oldest, he's now 21. He was leaving high school then. And I thought I was here for just a couple of months. One day led to another and then another. I was like, wait a minute. Starting over at the third time, that was agency. I had done it twice before. Now it's, hey, done it before, can do it again. I had to start over here. I moved to Washington State. And in order to be able to survive, because I was transitioning, I had to look for employment, which I got a job with a state agency as their learning and development specialist, specifically recruited to help with their leadership development program. Which they didn't have one. I had to be the person to get that started. Now, because I had already survived the collapse of my identity when I left the previous business, when I left my marriage, I mean, those are the two things. I mean, the two moments in your entire life that are going to threaten who you are. It's leaving a career that's comfortable because you're choosing you, and leaving a marriage because you're choosing.
Wow.
The two moments in life that are going to really test your identity.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Queen. What a powerful way to close out that section. And I know you're still going to speak into that when the audience gets to ask questions. But you just shared from a place of vulnerability, from a place where I know that one or two women in this room can say, me too. I know that for sure. At least your story touches a part of mine. You already know that. So thank you for being vulnerable to share. And burnout is real. And so I saved the best for the last. And now, not because your name starts with a Z, but because it is your moment, Queen, I welcome Zenobia Harris to the stage. And I'm sure Zenobia is going to tell you the very beautiful way that we met. We fell in love. Don't let her husband hear that.
Okay.
And here we are today. So Zenobia, I'm just going to start with a simple question, like every other person. Tell us about Zenobia. Who is Zenobia, and what makes you really tick?
Yes. Well, yes, we're in love and my husband knows, and that's right. That's quite all right. And so we met just a few months ago, but like she said, it was this instant connection. Brigitte has a way of bringing you in and pulling you in and making you feel seen, no matter where you think you are in your life. And so, Miss Brigitte, I appreciate that so much. But I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about today. See, I am transitioning in my life, and recently did my first 3-day fast. And so I feel like the devil's coming after me. Okay. And so I missed every single email for this. I missed every single call for this. I had absolutely no idea what I was supposed to be doing, supposed to be saying. And I'm sitting here listening to the women's stories. And it wasn't until Miss Chinwe, I think is how you pronounce it, talked about losing her mother at the age of 7. I too lost my mother at the age of 7. Tragically, my mother was killed in front of me at the age of 7. And I think, well, I don't think, I know for sure that's where my story started. I don't remember much before that, but I do remember that moment. And then I remembered a shift happening in a 7-year-old. It's a weird, it's a weird way to kind of start your life. And to start your life with grief. And so it started with the kind of silence, that comes with like people that are supposed to be there for you, right? And so I grew up without this safety net that most people really take for granted. And there were seasons in my life where I didn't have, for a very long time, obviously didn't have a mother to call, seasons where I didn't have a dad, where death really shaped my understanding of performance. So loss was forcing me to grow up so fast. And that taught me two things. Number one, life is fragile. And so when I find someone that I connect with them wholly, which can be very scary, which can be very detrimental to your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, because I wasn't able to discern at the time, is this a healthy relationship, or is this me just yearning for someone to fill in something? And the other thing that it really taught me is like wasting time. We just don't have that time to waste. And so that's when I started to really build my village. And then as I've gotten older, I've been able to determine, it's not really determined, but as I'm getting older, that whole people are in your life for a season and a reason. Before, I was keeping people on well past their season, well past what they were supposed to give to me and I was supposed to give to them. So what we talked about burnout, that happened with friendships and people and relationships. And so I really started my leadership journey very young. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers, and I'm in the middle, right? So when you're in the middle, you're the glue. You are connecting people together. I got married in 2013, and in 2013 was the first time my eldest sister and the one right underneath her in almost 20 years had even spoken. was at my wedding. And so I have a way of kind of bringing people together, and that is who I am in community. That's who I am at work. That's who I am in my writings and all of those different things. So, what built me really is just the ability to survive adversity. And then being honest with myself that some of the adversity, now this is the hardest lesson I think I ever learned, is that some of the adversity I was facing, I was actually putting myself in that all on my own. It was not other people. It was me putting myself in positions that I shouldn't have been in because I was unhealed. And then once I realized I needed to be healed, that's when those relationships shifted. That's when I began to study grief and process it in a different way. And I refuse to let it define me, and definitely I refuse to let it break me. Resiliency, I think, is a moment, right? But resiliency became my muscle. And anyone that knows me, all of the things that I've been through, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm always looking, how can I pour that into someone else? So if you see me, you will always see me working with the youth, working for the youth, working for the purpose of them in the future, whatever that may be. I don't stand flat-footed in spaces where women, especially women of faith, which is different, are underestimated. I am standing up. I am speaking up for people all of the time. So all of the adversity, all of the tears, all of that really has been able to help me not be afraid of what people think about who I am. I just can't afford to allow people thoughts about me affect me in the way in which I move throughout the world, because I'm moving with a clean heart. I'm moving with a broken heart too. I'm moving with a broken heart. And so I have to be selfish in that way to make sure that I am only doing things that are healing that. And so that's kind of like the work that I do. Well, not of course, you all don't know that, but I'm a CEO of a chamber of commerce. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love
I
entrepreneurship.
was just going to ask you that question before your time is up, and then we don't get to hear that piece of you. And because, hey, I'm going to interject this queen right now, because she is sharing from a place of humility. But this lady that I'm sitting here with, that all of you are sitting in front of, she's big deal. She's the CEO of the Kent Chamber of Commerce. She's highly sought after. And for her to be sharing this story, this piece, the piece that makes her vulnerable, that she will share a tear or two. I never got to know the story before. These are the connective pieces. And so really, I would love you to speak now into that piece of work that you do at the chambers, and how you are able to put all of this together and still be this loving. Because a few days ago, I saw you and hobby somewhere having fun, and now you are here. How do you bridge that? How do you marry those things together?
I'm just trying to follow my assignment. I'm just trying to do what God said do and not be afraid. But this is scary. Being in all of these different places. I was on the news yesterday talking about my mother's death. I was on King 5. On March 6th was Zenobia Harris Day, that the mayor of my city declared Zenobia Harris Day. So I had a women's conference on the 6th. And the way I'm meshing all that together is I'm staying humble. I can have all the titles in the world, but I know that things can shift, and I'm just staying prepared for the shift. I'm trying to stay ahead of that shift by staying grounded in who I am, and always lifting and climbing and bringing and doing for other people, because I think that's what we were put on this earth to be able to do. My story about all of the accolades and the degrees and all of that, that was by the grace of God, that I'm not on drugs, that I'm not on the street, because all of those things were available to me, readily available to me. I could have chosen a totally different path. And, just by the grace of God, I did not. And I'm so grateful. So I coach, and I'm actually, if I can just take one more minute, because grief, I know for sure shaped who I am, and I love the shape that I am in, tears and all. I want to give that to other women. So I am starting my first anthology, and it is about people, women who have lost someone in their life, and how that shaped their life moving forward for the purpose of benefit for other people. It's a sad story. I'm sure the stories are sad, but there needs to be this, because this happened to me, right? Lucky for me that this happened to me. So lucky for you, it doesn't have to happen to you. And if it does, I have a pathway for you to hopefully, get through that. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share with everybody this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my God. Again, Brigitte has no words. How can Brigitte have no words? Zenobia, I just want you to feel the love from me to you. You lost your money at 7, right in front of you. I don't know what any of you would have done, but that is the story. We're going to hold that thought for the Q&A. I'm going to hold that at. And at this point, I'm going to hand it over to my co-facilitator, Miss Regina McKenzie, to do her thing. And then we go straight into the Q&A. Miss Regina, are you available?
I'm available. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Regina McKenzie. Before we move on to our Q&A, I think it's fitting that we have Brigitte come into the hot seat and give us a little chat about herself and what she has going on. So, Brigitte, if you don't mind, can I talk to you real quick?
Yes, you can talk to me, but can I do something with the queens first? Wait, you talk to me?
Absolutely.
Queens, you've been on social media, you've been here, you've been everywhere. Can you drop your social media handles in the chat so that, our beautiful guests can go find you? Just drop your social media. If you can drop one, because it's always good to focus on one platform. Just drop one platform out there and our guests will go find you and follow you. And guests, please follow our speakers while you are getting ready your questions. Okay, Regina, you have me.
Okay. Well, Brigitte, it seems like everybody has their own personal relationship with you, right? And has wonderful things to say. And I was sitting here thinking to myself, how everybody get to be on the phone with her so long and I'm on the phone with her so long? Like, how many hours is God giving Brigitte? Because it don't sound like He giving me the same amount. All this love that you're spreading out here, we appreciate you. I know that we hear a lot about the Girl Fix Your Crown movement and your coaching, but I don't know if everybody gets to hear the story behind the Open Gates International. So if you could please share with us, what was a moment or experience that first inspired you to open and create Open Gates International?
She got me. I didn't even know she was going to ask me this tough question. But anyway, when the judge declared my 18 years abusive marriage over, January 27th, 2017, I left that courtroom that day with mixed feelings. One, I was happy I was never going to be abused again. But on the second hand, my dreams were broken. I had dreams that I wanted to be a mom, a wife, a career woman, all of that put together in this castle with my knight in shining armor as my king. And everything was done that day in the courtroom. At the same time, as I was driving out of the courtroom, and I just heard my mom's voice, Brigitte, one broken dream is never the end of dreaming. If your dreams have been broken, go to sleep, but tomorrow you will dream again. I raced. I wasn't scared whether I was going to get a speeding ticket. I raced home. You know what was pulling me? My call was pulling me. I said, not again on my watch. Would a woman be out there, faced with trauma, faced with abuse, and all the things that I had to go through? That even if I have to do it for free, I get to do it again and again, and I'll be grateful that I got the opportunity to do it. And so I got back home, and straight away, I think Sean Foluke is in this room, I think. She was one of the first few women that benefited from my mentorship. So I had a free Zoom mentorship that every Saturday morning I would come in, and it was still the bold, brave, and beautiful woman that was titled. They were all from all across America, Nigeria, United Kingdom. They come in every Saturday morning for 90 minutes. They get to be poured into. They ask me all the questions, and I pour into them. And I realized that I had always been doing that almost all my life. Even when I was in the middle of the storm, I will still be solving problems for one woman who has either been abused or her child is hungry. But even at the age of 8, when I was in the car one day driving with my mom, and I had to ask her, Mom, why do you always like to give our food away? And she said, because there's always going to be the people in our midst that cannot afford a square meal. My 8-year-old brain noted that. And so I started doing that on my own. From every paycheck that I got, I would keep aside a percentage from my own paycheck. I have 3 children that I have to take care of. My mortgage as a single mom, but I still have to send this money to Africa every December. So women that are going through or have gone through abuse, they can fend for themselves, and to orphanages to provide food for the children to eat. And so in 2023, after I launched my book, The Girl Fix Your Crown, How to Fix Your Money, Your Mindset, and Your Mind so that you can fix your life, I decided it was time to ask for a little help, because it takes a village to be able to get the kind of funds and assistance that I need to be able to help the women and the children that need help. And I went ahead, and that's when Open Gate was officially founded. When I say officially, I meant that's when I got the 501c3 approved, so that I can take donations from you, and everyone that I come across to help fund this mission. The QR code is right there. If you feel that at this point you want to donate anything, contribute anything, please go ahead. I know Regina has not asked me this question, but let me just say it. Hey, scan the QR code and donate. And if you know Brigitte, I'll always give you the receipt. I'll come back with the proof of what the money was actually used for. And I know the Regina is going to ask me this question later, but I'm going to stop talking.
Thank you, Brigitte. Let me ask you this. How did you come up with the name Open Gates? Like, what inspired that? Oh, did you go on mute, Brigitte? I couldn't hear you.
Really? Can you hear me now?
Your mic messed up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Not really.
Wait, I need to take it out.
There you go. There you go.
Wait, let me just give me a moment. Let me disconnect the pods, and I just do my thing, you know?
We can hear you clearly now. While you're fixing your mic, I just want you to know I like your top. That's very cute.
Thank you, sweetie.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
No. There you go. There you go.
They don't want me to. They don't want to hear that part. The juicy part of the story, they don't want to hear it. That's
okay.
Why.
Give us the juice, because we can hear you now.
You know, I don't know how to blow my trumpet, so I always rely on Regina to help me do that very well. So, girl, I
I live, I move, and I have my very being through my sugar daddy, which is who is the grand overall designer of my life, the Almighty God. He takes care of me. When I need something, I ask. And so I needed to set up the nonprofit. And you heard when one of the ladies was saying, I think it was Tina. Tina said it took a village. She had a mom, her grandmother, everybody to support her. So I had a mentor. And I went to my nonprofit mentor, and she has been telling me for the past years, like over 7 years, and said, Brigitte, the work you do with women, you'll be most beneficial if you have a nonprofit. Well, I was listening, I was waiting for the Lord to tell me himself. And so when the time was ready, I went to her. And then she said, okay, we spent like 2 hours, mapping out everything. Now she was asking me questions and I was answering her. And then she told me, Brigitte, you already knew about all of this before you came to me. So why are you here then? I said, well, but I still have to have a mentor, someone who is already doing it. She sent me home with an assignment, only one assignment. She said, Brigitte, you gave me 3 names that you would want your nonprofit to be. I want you to go back home and come back and let me, and be sure that that's one of the names that you want. I said, okay. And so I went back home, locked myself in my bedroom that weekend. She gave me a weekend. I left her house on a Friday evening and she gave me till Sunday to come back to her. Okay, I can do that. So I stayed inside my bedroom. I didn't even go out. My daughter will bring my food literally to my room, drop it for me and go back, no words. By Saturday early in the morning, I heard the voice. Brigitte, you already know the name that I gave to you. Why are you asking me? Oh, I'm like, why did I forget? And so I stood up. I stood up from my bed. I was going to the bathroom. And as soon as I heard the handle, I realized there it is. As soon as I wanted to turn the doorknob to open the door, I realized that is it. If you know Brigitte, my favorite prayer is always Psalm 24, verse 7 to 10. Lift up your heads, O ye gates. Be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O ye gates. Even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Then I realized the reason why he gave me the word open gates. For you and I, there are always gates that stand before us. Whether you believe in God or not, but even if you are a spiritual person, you will agree with me that there are gates that are always holding you down. And he said, daughter, here is your assignment for you to open gates for families so that you can help them bridge the gaps and break the barriers that stand before them. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brigitte O'Michaels, and I am the CEO and founder of Open Gates International. My mission is simple. Bridge gaps, break barriers for families worldwide. If you will join me, scan the QR code and let's do this together, because you've already heard it takes a village. Thank you, ma'am.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you for sharing that with us and giving me the opportunity to ask you a few quick questions. And they were well worth listening to, most definitely. And like you said, Brigitte, you definitely will share any receipts. This is an organization that I try to make sure that I'm faithfully donating to with my time or funds, however it can be done, because I too want to make a difference in everybody who's involved in the organization. So I think at this point, maybe we can move over to allowing the ladies in the audience to ask one another any questions that we may have. I didn't see any questions come through in the chat, and I could be wrong. But if you ladies don't mind, if you can raise your hand, and then we can call on you so you can ask your question to one of the ladies who had shared their story with us today. Don't be shy.
You don't have a question? You want me to volunteer? You want me to call upon you? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, ask your questions. I'm very sure. Okay. We are 46 of us. Nobody has any question for any of these queens in the room? All right. If you don't have, then while we're waiting for your question, maybe because Janet asked me to share a story, I deliberately didn't want to share that. Maybe this will spark you to ask your story, and maybe, just perhaps maybe, this is why you are here. "2025 is a year I never want to see again in my life. Because January 24, 2024, I was supposed to be on holiday with my family, my loved ones. And the very first day we got there, I slipped on ice and I broke my ankle bone. If you know me again, my mom died on Christmas Day, 1996. So Christmas, I don't really want to be the enthusiastic, extroverted Brigitte. I want to be by myself. So please leave me alone on Christmas Day. But I spent that Christmas in the ER. I spent the Christmas of 2024 in the ER. And all manner of things were going through my head, watching my son and my daughter fret over me. That was the end of the vacation. I had to come back home. January 7th, I had to have a scheduled hysterectomy. Ladies in the room, you know what that is. So I'm not going to go into. January 8th, 2002, I put my identical twin daughters to sleep at 8 a.m. in the morning in Nigeria, in West Africa. And in less than 2 hours, I was called back that one of them was gone. Gone where? I don't know. Till today, I still do not know. But I was told that my baby was dead. And I was also told that my ex-husband says in their culture, a woman is not allowed to see her baby in death. So I was denied a goodbye kiss to my daughter. I was denied the opportunity to see my daughter. Her name was Karen Chinenye. I live with that grief. I don't know how I've been able to do that. But my nonprofit mentor always said to me, Brigitte, you are the only one who can do all of these things that you carry, and you still come out cheerful and enthusiastic and ready to help another woman fix her crown. Those were exact words to me this last Christmas. By May of 2025, I was having severe pain in my shoulder continually. And so they have to have an MRI. The MRI result revealed that when I fell that very day, I tore my rotator cuff, I tore my tendons in my left shoulders. So I have to have it fixed. And they said it was urgent and I have to have it fixed ASAP. If you know what that means, I'm a solopreneur. My business was grounded. I could not go to work. I had exhausted all manner of benefits that you can ever think of. But Brigitte was still here, fixing crowns for every single person. Not one day did I ask anyone for help. I didn't. Because I'm still working through learning how to ask for help anyway. But I was still my usual self. And I just told the doctor, is there any way possible that you can allow me two things? September 12th is my birthday. I don't want to be in that pain in my ankle that is broken and a pain in my shoulder. I said, is there any way you can allow me to, celebrate my birthday without being in pain? He agreed. And then I said, I have a second request. I am being awarded Woman to Watch 2025 in my city. Is there any way you can allow me go there too and then have the surgery? And he said, yeah, okay, you win. So October 30th, I have the surgery. October 16th, I was crowned Woman to Watch. I'm still going. But one thing that I know that I'm very good at, I know how to channel my pain to developing me. And so I knew I was going to have that scheduled surgery. What did I do? I said, it's time for me to, I've been putting off becoming an AI consultant for a long time. I'm going to use that pain to learn how to become AI certified so that I don't just want to be shooting videos. I want to teach others how to ethically use artificial intelligence. And I did that. You won't believe, on the day that I finished all my capstone projects, everything, submitted everything, that was November 30th. On that same day, at 10:30 p.m., which is 7:30 a.m. Nigeria time, December 1st, I got a phone call from my brother. One of my favorite nieces, who has to be like a daughter to me, was dead. That's December. Remember the December? Remember how my December goes, right? On Wednesday, December 3rd, I'm coming back from my physical therapy. I got a call from the coroner's office on the phone. And he asked me, ma'am, are you sitting down? And I said, yeah, I'm sitting in the car. My daughter is driving. And he said, I'm sorry, I've got some bad news for you. I want to let you know that that Anthony, my ex-husband, was found dead in his home. We don't know when he was dead. We don't know the cause of his death. I was stunned. Even though we've been divorced for over, it's 9 years now, I never one day wished him death, because he has not been in our lives in any way, shape, or form. I mean, zero. So my prayers has always been that God touch him so that he can come and unite with his children. That was my hope. And every day I keep begging my children to reserve a space in their life to forgive him when he comes calling. Sadly, that has been taken away from my children. I couldn't process this. The following month, I was hosting the first Girl Fix Your Crown retreat in my state. Marlene called me and said, Miss Brigitte, you know you're going to be able to you're going to be pouring into others, and you cannot pour from an empty cup. I remember she said that. So please, whatever you can do to put yourself together, please do. I said, that's fine, that's okay. I never cried, I never complained. I was just blank. And so I wrote it and I put it, I have a God can, and I put it away where I will process it later. All my emotions. I went to the retreat. But before, the 2 days before the retreat, something amazing happened to me. I was sleeping. I was just stretching up and down my bed trying to sleep, because I've been sleeping on a recliner for this past month, and I cannot find a peaceful place to sleep because of the pain in my shoulder. So I got off my bed and I started pouncing around my room, and pacing around my room like, why am I awake? What's going on? Why am I awake, God? I was asking him. And then, boom, I started getting the download. As usual, I pick up my pen and paper and I started writing so fast, because I knew another book was being written. And he told me, and that day I knew that the divorce that we have is just paper. It never dissolves a marriage. Marriage is spiritual. It takes another spiritual occurrence to break that vow that you took. You better believe it or not, But I'm telling you because I'm telling you from a lived experience. Because when it happened, all of a sudden, for the first time in 9 years, I truly feel free from that marriage. It's not as if I'm happy about it. I'm not happy about the way it has happened. But I was not free even when the judge told me, Brigitte, you are free to go. This marriage is dissolved. I've not been in a relationship because I just felt as if I was cheating on him. Even if we're not married. For the first time, I must tell you today, I truly feel free. Why am I sharing you this story? Why did Janet even mention? Because I wasn't even going to share it. But I'm very certain that there is a queen in this room today who needed to hear this story, who needed to take a piece, maybe one part of it. And so I pray that as of listened, that you will be blessed. I'm going to stop talking so that I can let Regina do her thing. But I see that Regina is also raising her hand. So Regina, do you have a question?
I do. I have a question. I started going back thinking about the ladies who shared their story. And I did make a note to myself that I was going to want to ask Janet a question. And is she still here with us?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So Miss Janet, you had talked about basically starting over 3 times, right? And in that process of starting over, how do you talk to yourself about being okay with the start over? Because sometimes you'll start over and you kind of feel like a failure. You'll start talking to yourself like, I've dropped the ball, I should have done XYZ. And then you start thinking about all the decisions that you had made and what you should have did. How do you talk yourself out of being I guess disappointed in self, or realizing even though when you look backwards, you're still where you're supposed to be?
Thank you. That's a powerful question, and I appreciate it. Knowing that all those questions that you ask yourself are part of the process of starting over, and giving yourself permission to let the brain ask those questions, except not letting those questions determine your destination. So it's knowing that it's part of the process. And what I decided was to believe that I'm going to be unapologetic with my decisions to start over. And for that reason, I actually, what I'm doing right now is helping women who would like to start something of their own, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's somebody wants to go all in business, is to be able to create something of your own, something that you're not going to be laid out of, something that you're not going to be, that's not going to be part of the statistics that we're seeing today. By the way, there's an article that I read, actually a research report I read 2 days ago. It was by Anthropic. Anthropic did create Claude, which if you're in AI, Claude. And the report said that the people that are going to be affected the most, or the positions that are going to be affected the most, or, sorry, there's a lot of noise in the background. The positions that are going to be affected the most are positions held by women. Yes, AI exposure is positions that are held by women. We're talking positions that have a lot to do with working on the computer. And interestingly enough, I thought, wait a minute, does this mean customer service? Positions that are highly paid. Last year, I worked with 5 women who got pushed out of their roles because they had outgrown the purpose that they were led to serve. And of course, with women, especially with Black women, there's a lot more behind it. You're brought in, you're used, you raise the bar, and they're like, sorry, we don't need you anymore. So we don't have the time to wait to be pushed out of our roles. I'll share, I've heard a lot of AI consultants here, and I'll drop the link of the report in the chat if anybody wants to take a look at it. But I just want to throw that out there that people, we need to choose ourselves. We need to be ready. But I hope I've answered your question. It is knowing that that's part of the process, believing it's part of the process, giving yourself permission and grace to allow the brain to ask those questions, and to learn to ask better questions. What's my purpose today? What am I serving today? Who am I serving today? Who do I want to show up as today? And just keep asking those better questions. Eventually, you will find that path that you're looking for, the journey that you're looking for, that's, uninterrupted by anybody. And that's in a nutshell, that's what it is. And that's what I'm doing to help women, actually. That I call it the river of misery, the in-between. Those questions, when you're asking yourself those questions, that's the river of misery. So a lot of work that I'm doing nowadays is helping women overcome that river of misery to be able to create what you want to create.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question. I have a question.
Oh.
Okay, my question is for every single lady here, all the speakers, all of them. So I want all of them to come in and share. Regina, why did you go off camera? Hey, Regina, are you okay? She disappeared on me. Okay, so my question is, first I want to ask Chinwe and Regina, please don't leave me. I don't know how to facilitate this part of it. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to be able to. Please don't leave me, Regina. So my first question goes to Miss Chinwe. I cannot imagine what you went through. I cannot understand it. But what kept you in those times where you're navigating the life of your son, that you have to, first of all, I've never heard that before. You have to donate a piece of your liver to one person, and then that person take their liver and give to another, to your son, a total stranger, maybe. What kept you? What kept you, going? And this same question is to every single speaker in the room. Marlene, at those points where it's so difficult for you, felt like quitting, what kept you going? Because I've not really heard anybody tell me that. Did you pray? Did you fast? Did you jump up and down? Did you run around the street? Only Zenobia said that she was grateful that she could have taken drugs. You could have been somewhere on the streets, homeless, drunk right now. So what did you do? Something tangible that we can pick up today. So first one is to Chinwe.
Thank you so much, my beautiful sister, Brigitte.
Okay.
Let me just thank you first for this platform, for giving me the mic, for the stage, for the presence to celebrate women. My story is a story for every one of you here. I am a mother, and a nurturer. When you get into marriage, you know your place, and God blesses you with children. It's an assignment. So you have a child that has ailment. In my own case, he had 2.
Okay. So what did you do?
He looked healthy, but a liver condition is a big thing. Very often we hear about kidney issues, but for this child to have been born with biliary atresia, I knew that God had given me a gift. I also knew that he had given me the resources. When I say resources, you have the family, you have a community where we come from. Not one person raises a child. But when it comes to the financial aspect, it's your responsibility, if you know what I mean. So God equipped me. If you heard me, I was like Gideon, someone who was a bit not very strong.
Sorry, student, I have to cut you here. I'm so sorry. I have to cut you here because I'd never apologized, but I just did that because, not because I apologize, but because I know where you're sharing from the place you're sharing from. But the question is, what we're looking for is that particular thing. I know there's God, and I know that we went to school, you have all of that. But what kept you going that you did not say, you know, on the street of India, you say, you know what, I'm done. I quit. I can't do this anymore. Whatever happened, let it happen. What did you do? Did you pray? Did you do affirmations? What did you do?
You know, God, before I gave birth to this child, he gave me the names and they were all very prophetic. So when the issues came up right from birth, God gave me like a blueprint, but I didn't see the finish, but I saw the blueprint. And he said to me, start writing. And I started writing right in the hospital bed. And as I was writing, the issues were getting magnified and the doctors were running around. And I trusted the process. I had trust the process. And I kept on journaling and journaling. So every time I looked at the situation and it was worse than it was before, and I would start crying. As we leave the doctor's office, this was when I was now in India a year later, God will say to me, you are crying, but does this child look like someone who is dying? And I would say no. So that encouraged me. God was speaking to me. He was giving me the nuggets, even in a signboard, even on a throw pillow that says, be well. There were so many things that were jumping out, and God was just ordering all those, I call them God winks, to tell me I'm with you. Hang in there. One day, my children's doctor said to me, Dr. Neelam Mohan, you can find her on Instagram. She's an incredible woman. And you can find her on LinkedIn. She's always on LinkedIn talking about transformation. Dr. Neelam looked at me and said, Chi, I think you should go back home with DK and go and take care of your 3 daughters. And I said to her, God has not yet told me. She looked at me and she said, you're incredible. So I was hearing from God. Everybody is capable of hearing from God, but you need to be yearning. You don't need to go to a church where there is so much noise and beating of drums and everything to hear God. In the silent corner of your home, of your room, of your living room, you might not even have an altar, just anywhere you are. If you listen, God will speak to you and you will hear it clearly, you will understand it. By the time we got the liver transplant done, when my son was 18 months old, he's 18 and he's in the university. I had written a book in 18 months and I published it 10 years later when I turned 50. And that is my story. And I'm moving with that and helping women to own their own.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we heard from her. In case you are watching, you didn't get a chance to ask your question or ask her a question. She shared 2 powerful things that she did. The tools from her story is she journaled and she said that she published the book when she turned 50. But most importantly, she trusted the process. So when you're going through something, don't be in a hurry to go through it. Journal it because it may be for someone else. So I'm not going to call anyone. If you're ready, just go ahead and answer the same question. It's the same question for everybody. Okay, Regina is back. Okay. Regina, I give up.
For me, when I have been going through my process, I cry. I cry because God said it's okay to cry. It's okay to weep. So I cry. But then God said, you can't just stay cry. I walk in purpose, so I serve. And I make sure that I have a community. I have a great community of women around me that pray with me. And when I'm in areas where I don't have physical community, I build those community to help me, support me through that journey because I can't do it alone. And you always have to have that 1 or 2 sisters who you're able to take out that mask and be able to be yourself, and they can cry with you and say, you know, we'll cry with you for this moment, but then, girl, fix your crown. You got this. What is your purpose? What's your destiny? We have work to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies. So for me, my own journey led me back to Guyana. I'd been serving in my last appointment in Belize, Central America, Belize. And when I did take the sabbatical, I traveled to the UK to just have some time with my family, recover and rest. As the Lord would have it, He brought me back to Guyana. But what I did in the process was ask a senior minister of the gospel to cover me because I recognized that I had been experiencing degrees of brokenness that I was not familiar with, having to detach myself from a place that I'd worked for several years. Um, and so I intentionally did that because I believed I needed someone to be accountable to in light of how I was processing what I'd been experiencing. And I found that to be a tremendous source of encouragement and grounding for that matter. I couldn't just wander off because we would set times to meet once a month. So he would follow my movements. I got to be vulnerable with him. I got to be prayed for. Essentially, he covered me. So in my movement back to Guyana, that process continued to the extent that when I had several new experiences in Guyana, one being that my mother had a heart attack just after a month of being back home. And I felt I could not leave my mother. I needed to be here long enough to care for her and ensure that she was um, well enough to be on her own, at least living on her own. And that, of course, became another layer that I needed to process in light of the perspective that God would be giving me to move forward. In that place of serving my mother, I began to sense that I needed to be here for a little longer. I couldn't plan any other experience outside of Guyana overseas as I'd been desiring to. And in that place, I began to experience a different kind of fulfillment that I'd been able to honor my mother, serve my mother. And along with that came my service to several older people in my community, persons that were in need of a different kind of pastoral support that they would not have usually got. So I was not employed as in, a formal employment, but God employed me to be of support to his people. And sometimes when we are journeying through experiences, we tend to think we need to hold back on being true to ourselves, when in truth and in fact, what the Lord wants us to do is that where we are positioned, we continue to give our best in those spaces. So that was the second place for me of wellness, of getting better in the journey. I served where I was. I
Sorry, Adela, I
anticipated.
have to cut you off. I am so sorry because we are other queens and it's 2 minutes
Okay.
for everybody to be able to answer that question
Okay.
because we are actually out of time. And
All
so
right.
I know that Bobby wanted to say something. Bobby, please take it away. Yeah.
So I really wanted to thank you. I really wanted to piggyback off Marlene. I tried to do it alone. I didn't really have a circle, or should I say the circle that I had was not what I needed. So I had to be open-minded, and I did follow where God led, and I slowly built a productive circle that helped me. Being at Girl Fix Your Crown was one of those places where I gained positive influence. It's, I was here for myself. I built my own positive mindset. I prayed, but God introduced me to different people that built what I needed around me. And I would say continue to look for that and just continue to be open-minded. Zenobia said she didn't have time, that you didn't have time to think about what other people thought or worry about. And That's a good perspective for me. Marlene, you can't do it alone. That's a great perspective for me as well. And Della, push through. I've pushed through, but I've pushed through alone. And I know that I can't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I have God, but I need people here to help lift me up and help carry me forward as well.
Absolutely. Regina, please take over. I need to rest my voice.
Okay, Tina.
Yeah, so much powerful information has been shared today. And I think for me, that's kept me going is resilience. Never been in a position to give up. I never thought about giving up, no matter what obstacles that came my way, because I know that there was better for me. And there's been times in my life, even when I had to do what I had to do to survive and to get the bills paid, I always felt like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I know I'm supposed to be doing something different. I'm not working in my passion and my purpose, but I got to do what I got to do. And sometimes as women, that's what we have to do in that moment. But we always, I always wanted to strive for better, and then also put myself in places where of being with like-minded women in order to elevate and uplift and encourage me as I go on my journey, and then also allow me to help someone else as they're going through theirs as well. So being resilient has really kept me, and it continues to keep me.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Zenobia, did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did. Thank you.
Okay.
So I didn't know what the name of this was before, and I just realized that over the last few years, but I built what I call my own personal board of directors, people in my life that I can go to for financial reasons, for prayer, for someone to just say yes when I need somebody to say yes, because I've had some no's. So just building a village around me that was supportive, but was also honest with me was important. That's really what kept me going. Yeah. So I'll just stop there, making sure that I have those people around me, and then the power of understanding that. And my pastor said this today too, that everybody in your life is teaching you something. They're teaching you what to do or what not to do, and that is a powerful thing, that you can learn something from everybody as well.
Thank you, ma'am. And Miss Janet, I know you had a question for me earlier, but Miss Bridget came with another one, and I don't believe you've been able to answer that as of yet.
For me, it's, I echo everybody else here who's talked about God. That was my anchor. Secondly, learning to be unapologetic in every decision I make, and knowing that if it's the wrong one, I will figure it out somehow. Being comfortable with making a decision and knowing that it may not be the right one, instead of waiting to make the right one. So those are the three things that I have done to be able to take one day at a time, moving into the right direction.
Thank you, hon. And then has everybody...
Regina, how come you didn't tell me, hon? Now, when it's Janet, you say thank you, hon. I'm jealous now.
Well, you was on here telling Zenobia you was in love with her and stuff, remember? So now me and Janet are in love. That's how it goes.
Okay. Give up, you win. 1-1. Okay. Well, everybody loves me. Okay.
So you're the true winner.
I don't know if Marlene spoke on this question.
You don't know?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Yeah. I think everybody has gone round.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
now I get to ask Miss Regina before she gets off the stage. Miss Regina, tell us who you are. Who are you? Why are you here?
I should have been so prepared for this. I don't know what I was thinking, y'all. Like, oh, she's just gonna let me answer in the chat. I'll be able to do a little something and be in the background where I like to be. But my name is Regina McKenzie. I am a consultant with Get It Done Solutions. I do government contracting. I help veterans claim their disability benefits. And I'm Brigitte mentioned earlier, I'm Brigitte's secondhand man. Whatever she needs, she calls on me, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm available when she needs me. What else is there to tell you guys about me? The more that you're involved in anything that Brigitte has going on, you guys will be interacting with me because that's what Regina does. I love to serve. And I just felt a true tug on my heart that told me when I got to meet Brigitte that she is supposed to be who I am assisting. I know that there's a lot of people who, well, I won't say a lot of people, but it seems that people tend to want to be in the spotlight, and I'm more so comfortable in the background, but I've always had a true desire to help someone build whatever their dream is. And I want to make sure whatever I'm attached to and helping build is to build other people, and it's encouraging and it's loving and it's a safe space. And that's what I see in Brigitte's vision. And that's why I want to assist Brigitte in where she is going. That's who I am.
That wonderful. I'm so glad that I got to put her on the spot, because now, not only did she tell you about herself, she got to talk a little bit about me. Remember, I told you before, in the beginning, I don't like talking about me. I like other people to talk about me. Hey, how did you get here? How did today run and time is just gone and we're suddenly looking for time? And you may start wondering, what did I even get from being in this space? When we had the pre-call, I said, this is a seed that every single one of you, even if you are a guest here tonight, you just planted a seed. Whether you contributed, whether you spoke, whether you added a comment, whether you donated money, it doesn't matter. What I know is, in this space, for Open Gates International, you have all sown a seed. Do not think for 1 minute that you didn't do anything. Just being here alone, being here with us for the past 2 hours and 12 minutes, that is a seed that you have sown into this movement, whether it's Open Gates International or whether it's God Fix Your Crown, because you find out that beneath those 2 circles is the same person, the same vision, and it's always going to be Brigitte O'Michaels. And I have my second in command, Marlene, Regina, and I have my second in command, Marlene, in the room. And there's a third one, but she's not here. But you all met the queen, the new crown queen. So I have given part of my queen, my title, to Bobby Bridgewater. So she is out there doing great, amazing things. We all heard her story. Tomorrow, it could be you. Next year, when we have opportunity again to make this call, it could be you. And I pray that you'll be able to respond and get the spotlight to also share your story. Because sharing your story does not make you, it does not mean that you are not an international speaker, you want to go speak on the world. What we do here is provide you a safe, vulnerable space that is non-judgmental, easy for you to be able to come and share in a small group with women who are also going through something in their journey. Because as women, we carry a lot. From Chinwe's story, to Janet's story, to, oh my God, Zenobia, to Andela, all of them, every single one of them, Marlene, Bobby, Tina, Regina, they all had something to share. Something that you also could look at the girl. Look at, when I came on this call this today, told Jehovah that I arrested her lipstick. Not even knowing that she had a story behind that cute look. Look at all these ladies sitting here, pretty, elegant, professional, expert. You are authority in your field. But the moment you open your mouth and you started talking for the first 30 seconds, you saw me, I was doing my Brigitte thing. I was wiping the tears away because I couldn't for a minute control those. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for spending your Sunday with us. Thank you for being vulnerable to share this room, your story, with even total strangers in the Zoom, in the audience that don't even know who you are. But at least that has changed from today, because I believe that all the 48 people that were on the Zoom at one point got to meet you. And all of the 75 people who registered to be here, they also get to meet you, because after this, myself and Marlene, we're going to do what we know how to do best, find a way to send a portion of this to you, and then also reshare it to the people who registered so that they can go watch it on YouTube. We will never send the recording to email list, but we can send them to the YouTube. You know why? Your story is sacred. You determine how to use it. Well, like I said, you are a speaker, an official speaker now. You will be receiving a certificate of participation very soon, in the next couple of days, from us, just to say thank you. And to Masha Mutisi, I see you, sister. If you would like to come on camera for a moment, because I want you to speak a word into the lives of these women. That's how much I trust and value you, Masha. So if you are there, for 30 seconds, I want you to speak a word into the lives of these ladies. And then we'll close out in prayers.
Are you able to hear me?
Of course, we can hear you.
Thank you. Apologies. I'm actually mobile. I'm always on the move. I'm a woman on the move, like all these queens who are movers and shakers. So forgive me coming from a Costco run and another errand. But I wanted to just thank you for this space. Thank you for this time. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do. I remember the day your daughter won the pageant. She was the first runner-up. And I just looked, I don't even know if you recall this moment, that you were at the side of the stage and you were praising God and you declared and said, you know, you said something about, I'm a single mom and look at me. And I remember you gave a whole monologue that I don't think you remember that moment, but I do. Yes.
And I was kneeling down on the stage.
But it was such a humble moment of you saying, "Man, look at me, I'm a nobody, and God has blessed me and all this." And I just was crying because I was like, wow, Brigitte, you know, you're a blessed woman and you're a blessing. You have this assignment to bring us together. So in closing today, I'm just going to say, for those who don't know me, my name is Masha Mutisi. I work for the city of Seattle by day in the IT department, but I'm a community and I'm a connector. I'm a super connector. And community is important. I've heard others say that. And that is what has kept me in my 30 years living here in the Northwest. That is what has kept me going. And I've come to a realization more than ever of the importance of community and leaning on each other, helping each other to find solutions. You know, right now we've got institutions that are letting us down. People are losing jobs. So much is going on. But let's lean on each other, call on each other, find ways to say, hey, who else is doing what I want to be doing? When I'm hearing of mentorship, that's something I'm actually inspired. I'm living inspired today to really find mentors, find my board of directors, because you can't do this life alone. So we have Queen Brigitte here who's creating community, who's creating a kingdom of queens that we all lean on each other, help each other, encourage each other for our greatness. And for that, we are grateful. So let's keep leaning on each other and keep pushing forward and stay encouraged. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience who have something to say, i.e. you have a testing, you want to give a feedback on how everything was happened today? You want to give us a feedback? You're welcome to take the stage. Practice your speaking, your public speaking, and take the stage. If there's anyone who would like to give any of the speakers a thank you, a feedback, please go ahead and do that. And if you want to be able to send it privately to me, you registered, so you have my email. So I will be sending out emails as well to ask for feedbacks to all our speakers, because hey, next time they want to come and do better, because you can see that all these women, they are people of personal development and growth. Thank you. So every single one of you who was here. So I'm going to see if I'm going to just stop speaking for 30 seconds to see if there's anyone who wants to give a feedback. You want to share feedback on how today has been, or you have something to say, even just to say Happy International Women's Day, that is something. Otherwise, we'll close out. 30 seconds, going once.
I want to say, yes, Happy Women's Day
talking?
to everyone.
Please hold on, Queen. Let's see who is talking.
Sherilyn Robertu from Belize.
Marlene, we need to spotlight that queen. I'm looking for her. Please find her for me. From Belize, you said. Where are you?
I am from Belize. I live in Puerto Rico, and I'm currently in Atlanta.
Did you just actually have Daughters of Zion over there?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. If I have a moment to go to my bookshelf, I'm going to give you a book that has Daughters of Zion. For years,
Amen.
I was a part of a ministry in Nigeria that's called Daughters of Zion. Okay. So go ahead. Go ahead, Miss.
Yes, I want to say Happy International Women's Day. It's a beautiful opportunity to be on this Zoom with women from all over. Special thank you to Reverend Angela, who invited me to be a part of this platform today. And I especially came on to say thank you because it's been a dream for many years, which I continue to see unfold, that women are designed by God to lock arms together and work together, which is contrary to what we see in the world, where the tendency is for women clawing at each other and you know, fighting each other and trampling each other to get forward. So I'm blessed to be here and say thank you to all the ladies for sharing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Belize, now in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you.
I am from Belize. I live in Puerto Rico, and I'm currently in Atlanta for a few weeks.
Yeah, that's what I said, you're in Atlanta. Oh my goodness. Regina, were we going to go to Puerto Rico or Costa Rica for the retreat? Which one? Was it Costa Rica?
It was Costa Rica, but we could do Puerto Rico too.
Okay, you see?
There you go. There you go.
So stay connected, because that was the big vision at the Girl Fix Your Crown retreat. So stay connected, please. All right, I saw someone else, Regina. There was someone else.
Oh, I didn't see anybody else.
Christina, were you saying something?
No.
Okay, sorry. Okay. If we have done, let's see the chat. If there's anything we need to, okay, go. Okay, Puerto Rico. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and stay tuned, because all the funds that were raised for this year's Open Gates, 848, for the bold, brave, and beautiful woman. Stay tuned. That's why I told you to make sure, connect with me on social media or connect with any of us, because I will be announcing on LinkedIn when we have met the goal, because one woman is going to take away, a gift card to help support her in her small business. So the only qualification that the lady needs to give to us is a proof that she actually has a viable, active business. And so she will get, say, part of the money to be able to fund or maybe buy something, even if it's as little as a printer or a tool or equipment for a small business. And then the remaining part of the money is going to go to an orphanage in Africa. I know I did say Africa, but here came an opportunity this morning. I told you I haven't slept since last night because one, I didn't want to oversleep because the time changed today. I had a speaking opportunity at 6:30 a.m. my time today in India. And as soon as one of the doctors, called me out, that it was my time to speak. This my sugar daddy is just awesome. The next thing was, here is one organization that will benefit from your funds. Do you know what the organization does? They spend money educating young girls to go to school. Because in case you don't know, in India, young girls are called parayadan. It was while I was preparing my speech that I found out that they are not their own property. They either belong to their father or to their husband. That's why they are called parayadan. That's an Indian word. And so I heard that clearly on the call today. I don't know how we're going to do that, the funds, but this is what it's all going to go into. So none of it is going to my pocket, but I want to say thank you for everyone who has donated and the ones who are yet to donate. Perhaps it could be you who is going to get the portion of the funds. So keep donating and please keep sharing. The QR code is there, keep sharing. And if you know any organization who would like to contribute to us, please reach out to me or reach out to Regina Makeze, and it's Open Gates International, because Regina is one of the board of directors. And if you really have a drive to be able to help us, because we're looking for someone who will, where's Regina? We're looking for a member, either as a volunteer to help us raise funds or a board of director. We're looking for someone. So if you know you are good in that role, that's who we are looking for, someone who can help us go get these funds, because the money is here on earth. So having said that, I want to say thank you, a huge thank you to every single one of you. Every one of you matters, and I'm really saying that from my heart. And you are welcome to my world. If you are in my neck of the wood, now I'm emotional. You don't need an invite to come to my house. Just knock on my door and the door is open. Warm food is served. And now join me as we pray. Father God, I just want to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the lives of these women who were here today to grace the stage. They donated 2.5 hours of that Sunday to be here, impacting the lives of other women through sharing their stories and their lived experiences. Father, we say thank you. Lord, you have seen that they have sown a seed. You know, my ankle is broken, Father, but I'm not gaslighting you. I'm on my knees. This lesson they've sown a part of their time as tithe to be able to further this purpose, this mission. And Lord, as long as you leave it on earth and in heaven, I'm praying that every single one of them, whether they are speakers or they be guests, do something amazing, wonderful, extraordinary with them, through them, for them. That even before this same time next year, they'll have a groundbreaking testimony to share in their life, in their businesses, in their family, in their communities, in their neighborhood, in everything that they put their hands to do. Because you are God, and for you, this purpose is birth. Lord, I thank you. I thank you for the provision. I thank you for their calling upon all of their life, because they are all here for such a time as this. Thank you, God. For in Jesus' mighty name, we pray. And as they go, as they leave the Zoom room, I'm asking that your goodness and your mercy follows them everywhere they go throughout this year. That when there is a commotion out there in the world, these ones will be reaping your blessings. When other people are going to be crying and running helter-skelter, these ones are going to be hidden and cocooned in your embrace and in your love. They'll always have enough for themselves and for people around them. And I thank you, God, for this opportunity that you have given to me. And I will never take it lightly, Lord. And I'll never take you for granted. And I thank you, Father God. In Jesus'